Łuszczewska-Romahnowa was later sent to Ravensbrück and Leipzig. Although she managed to survive, her health deteriorated. She bore the scars of her wartime experiences for the rest of her life. Scholars prefer to be remembered for their research achievements, yet some are renowned for the tragedies that befall them. Seweryna Łuszczewska-Romahnowa is one such, having suffered many of the injustices and horrors experienced by 20th century women, but her life and history should not be allowed to overshadow her work, which was in the fine tradition of the Warsaw School, nor her custody of a generation of students. It appeared at the beginning of her life that the stars had aligned in Seweryna Łuszczewska-Romahnowa's favor. She was born on August 10, 1904, into a noble aristocratic family in Pšťana near Zborov, Tarnopol Voivodship. Łuszczewska-Romahnowa was a descendant of the famous politicians Minister Jan Pavel Łuszczewski and Count Wojciech Dziedziczycki. She studied philosophy and mathematics at Lvov University between 1922 and 1928. Her professors, philosophers Kazimierz Twardowski, Kazimierza Ajdukiewicza, and Roman Ingarden, and mathematicians Hugo Steinhaus and Stefan Banach, were experts in their respective fields. Thereafter, Łuszczewska-Romahnowa's life became more complicated. She left academia for a while because her applications for foreign scholarships and university posts were not successful. She worked as a governess and high school teacher, as well as helping her father with the administration. In 1932, she defended her thesis o výrazách okazionálních on indexicals under Twardowski and obtained her PhD. She began working as Ajdukiewicz assistant at Lvov University, but continued to teach in high schools because her salary was inadequate. She married Edmund Roman, a philosopher and high school teacher, in 1934. At the beginning of World War II, Lvov was captured by the Soviet army, and Polish academics, Łuszczewska-Romahnowa included, were expelled from the university. After German attacked USSR and captured Lvov in 1941, she and her husband were arrested by the Gestapo, imprisoned in Lvov, and later sent to Majdanek concentration camp, where Edmund Roman died. Łuszczewska-Romahnowa was later sent to Ravensbrück and Leipzig. Although she managed to survive, her health deteriorated. She bore the scars of her wartime experiences for the rest of her life. Łuszczewska-Romahnowa's academic career began in earnest only when the war came to an end. She secured a post at the Department of Theory and Methodology of Science at Poznań University, which was headed by Kazimierz Ajdukiewicz, her former professor. When Ajdukiewicz moved to Warsaw in 1955, she took his place and remained an active member of the university until her retirement in 1974. She was also a docent at the Department of Logic and Institute of Philosophy and Sociology of the Polish Academy of Science between 1957 and 1961. Seweryna Łuszczewska-Romahnowa died on June 26, 1978 in Poznań. Łuszczewska-Romahnowa's scientific achievements transferred mathematical logic, the methodology of science, and the history of philosophy and logic. She discussed Venn diagrams and attempted to explicate the concept of natural classifications, stressed the importance of precision and clarity in scientific language, proposed the formalization of the theory of argumentation in the context of scientific discussion, and wrote a series of papers on 17th century philosophy and port-royal logic, as well as translating Arnold's and Nichols' book. Łuszczewska-Romahnowa also discussed the work of all the members of the Warsaw School, Kotarbiński, Twardowski, and Ajdukiewicz, in several of her papers. It was Ajdukiewicz who enabled her to answer no to the question Či filozofia umiera? Is philosophy dying? The title of one of her studies. Łuszczewska-Romahnowa stressed the importance of clear language. In science, we have to avoid making statements which can be interpreted in different ways, so that for one interpretation, they may be accepted as true, and for another rejected as false, or for one interpretation they may be taken to be true a priori, and for another requiring an empirical substantiation, etc. We also have to avoid producing sequences of statements intended to serve as substantiation of stated claims, which can be taken to be convincing or unconvincing according to how certain of their elements are interpreted. One of her PhD students, Tadeusz Bartuk, stated that all the works of Professor Seweryna Romahnowa are written with extraordinary clarity and in a high logical culture. In this respect, she was a faithful torchbearer of the tradition of the Lvov school. Roman Moravský Jiří Pogonovský summed up her contribution as follows. The life of Seweryna Łuszczewska-Romahnowa was heroic. Due to the horror of war and Nazi persecution, she experienced a tragedy of losing her husband. She was imprisoned in concentration camps. Her health was ruined. Despite all this, she conscientiously fulfilled all her academic duties during the 3 decades after the war. She is remembered as a very modest person, always helpful and favorably disposed toward others. These qualities of her personality, as well as her scientific achievements, gained her a high esteem in the academic community.